What is going on, everybody? I still got this in my face, but give me a second. What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you are listening to Skytown, everything Chicago Sky related podcast, brought to you by the Chicago Sky from the Wintrust Arena and the All Sports All Plays Network. Definitely check that out when you get a chance. Give them a follow, give them a subscribe. We are obviously brought to you by the All Sports All Plays Network. Freddie, everybody else, we appreciate everything you guys do for us every single day. This wouldn't be possible without you guys. This wouldn't be possible without the Chicago Sky or anybody else. So I'm super excited to definitely just continue this episode and continue talking about the Chicago Sky right now, because even though they did lose yesterday's game in a horrendous game, it was super upsetting. It was not their best game. It was something to where, both sides played very bad, and I got to interview Becky Hammon, head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, former assistant coach to Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. We got to have a great conversation with her and just to totally get her feedback, and we're definitely going to roll that later. I have the audio version of it. The footage will be will be dropped later of the actual footage of it, but I have the audio for you guys today. We have interviews with Kahleah Copper, Stevens, and James Wade that I'm really curious to get your guys' opinion on. It was a great day nonetheless, but the Chicago Sky lost this game 83-76 after being down 18 in the third quarter. It was a bad game. The Chicago Sky shot, I don't remember the last time they had a game this bad from three, but they were 5 for 31 from three, which was what 16% from three. It was just not a character. It was an uncharacteristic day, I guess you could say, for the Chicago Sky. Candace Parker did not have herself a day. It was obviously a double-digit game for her, but not until late. She had like 9 points in the first four quarters, pretty much until, dead ball time. But it definitely comes down to it, to where the Chicago Sky got beaten by the best team in the WNBA. And that's fine. But we really did hold them. We really did hold our own. Lee made her first appearance. So that was definitely dope to see. The crowd loved her. She brought a lot of energy. She was super electrifying. I love everything we've seen from her. I can't wait to continue to see her grow. We did have an interview with James Wade. We're all going to play that one right now. I'm really curious to see how you guys feel about that one. We talked about Rebecca Gardner. We interviewed Rebecca Gardner the other day. We're going to drop that video in a little bit. You can find it on the All Sports All Plays Network now. Definitely check that out. But here's my question with James Wade, kind of just talking about Rebecca Gardner in the first 2 weeks in the WNBA and how teams are slowly adjusting to her kind of being an all-star type level player. Just not really getting the minutes because she's obviously coming off the bench, but it's definitely that conversation of understanding that Rebecca Gardner is here and she's not going anywhere anytime soon. Rebecca's game continues to grow every single day. Can you kind of just talk about what you've been seeing from her first day joining the Sky to now?
I think she's good. I think she has to, earn some respect. I think people are going to start realizing that she's a player. I think she's surprising some people. And I just feel like, so she makes great plays, but sometimes they don't get appreciated. And I think her being a rookie and nobody knowing who she is and not being a big NCAA star kind of hurts her a little bit in certain moments in the game. And I think it'll come around. It'll come around. She just stays at it. She has a level head on her, and she has her teammates behind her, and we just have to keep on making smarter plays.
That's a great take from James Wade, though, and that's obvious. Obviously, that's why he stated it. But it's one of those conversations to where, similar to Dana Evans last year, I feel like a lot of people didn't respect her because she was a rookie. A lot of people didn't respect her because she was coming off the bench and she had gotten traded from Dallas to the Sky. But everybody knows they could hoop. Everybody's going to feel them and feel their presence when they play against them. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things right now with Rebecca Gardner is, she played her entire career overseas so far. And not a lot of people know her from that, national standpoint. And I feel like they're going to start feeling that very soon. Obviously, Rebecca is older. She's not your typical rookie, but it's going to be felt and the presence is going to be known. And I feel like that takes an advantage to her because she's not your typical rookie and a 20-year-old woman who, hasn't really played against elite talent, where Rebecca Gardner's played against BG, she's played against Candace Parker, she's played against all these women in the WNBA and better women who aren't in the WNBA, who can hoop as well, that play overseas full time. And it's that conversation of, her being able to do this for year in and year out. The last 5 or 6 years overseas, it's that conversation of, okay, we can trust her in the moment. She's been in this moment before. She's been a part of great teams with great other individuals, and she's done her thing for a very long time. So I'm super excited to continue to see how she's going to grow. Obviously, it was a very difficult game for both sides. The bench of the Aces, not a single point off the bench from the Aces. Every single player played in double figures from the starting rotation. Kelsey Plum, who's been my favorite player for a very long time, Elena Deli-Don, and Kelsey Plum have always been my favorite players outside of Candace Parker and obviously members of the Chicago Sky. Even though Elena was a part of the Chicago Sky, don't ever forget that. But it's definitely a conversation that Kelsey Plum really did hoop her heart out last night, and she did her thing. Obviously Jackie Young, who is second in the league in scoring, did not have the greatest of games. I mean, she only had 10.6 assists and 7 rebounds in 36 minutes. Hamby had 14-0 and 14 and 33. Kelsey Plum, though, 19-6 and 3 and 34. Gray had 18-6 and 2. And Asia Wilson had 22-0 and 16. She had a double-double. What an amazing game from her. She did her thing. But, the rest of the team overall didn't produce a single point. I mean, they were running a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 woman rotation, 8 woman rotation, and only 5 of them gave production, and they still came out and dropped 83 points. This is a great team. This is a very defensive team. We're going to get word from Becky Hammon in a little bit, and we had a great conversation with her. And we're just going to talk about, how she felt about the game. She felt like it was bad from both sides, and that's definitely understandable, especially from the Sky's point of view. Quiggs wasn't hitting it. Schlute wasn't hitting it. Schlute had a season low in assists. I believe she only had 3 assists. She's averaging 8 on the year right now. But it definitely just wasn't the game we expected from the Chicago Sky. And to go through their stat line really quickly, Candace Parker had 11-3 and 11 and 30. Copper had 12-2 and 3 and 30. Mieseman had 4-2 and 6 and 20. Quigley had 8-2 and 4 and 23. Schlute had 12-3 and 9 in 28, which was 9 assists or 9 rebounds. Pardon me. That's not uncharacteristic of her, but it's not characteristic of her. So I was very happy to see that. From Dana Evans, 5-2 and 2 and 12. Stevens had 7-0 and 10 and 24. Rebecca Gardner had 11-1 and 0 and 18 and had great defense. Hebert had 4-1 and 2 and 11, and Lee had 2-0 and 3 and 4. And obviously she's coming off that injury, so her minutes have been restricted. She's obviously on a very deep championship caliber team. So they're obviously not going to, completely throw her to the wolves and throw her into one of the best teams in the league for her first game in the WNBA. But man, overall, it was weird. The third quarter was the strangest to me because Candace Parker barely played. Candace Parker was on the bench the majority of the third quarter, just being electrifying and just being that spark on the bench that everybody needed when that second unit went in. And, I interviewed Stevens and Copper, and we got a great answer from her. Kai just gave a great answer, and I'll leave it at that. I just want you guys to hear, from Kai's perspective, what's going on with, Candace Parker coming off the bench. I mean, it really was a sight to see that this team and Wade and Candace and everybody else, they're so unselfish and they just do their thing. So that was dope to see. So here's my interview with Kahleah Copper really quickly.
James talked about earlier that Candace's energy and her leadership on the bench during the third quarter kind of meant a lot for him. And I was wondering for both of you what that kind of meant for you and what her leadership brings, not only on the court, but on the bench.
I think Candace has such experience, and she sees such good things in this team that she always has so much confidence. So I think that maybe it was the third, she was like reminding us consistently, like even when we were down maybe 18, she was like, we're never out of games. And I think that the group that was in, they took that confidence out there and they got stops. They got stops and they got easy buckets, and then the bench continued. We on the bench continued to give them that energy that Candace started. And we went on a run and they cut it. So I think that, Candace's experience and her leadership, it goes a long way. Even talking about in the championship run, she's been there. She has a blueprint. So she old, basically. So she knows. She's been through a lot. So she really helps us. Tell her our color.
And I love that. I love that they always call Candace old. They always call Quigley and Sloot old. It's just a part of this team being so young but so experienced at the same time. But it definitely hit. It's that conversation of Candace understands, what this is going to take to be able to win games, and sometimes that might be her being on the bench. She wasn't having the greatest night from three or the greatest night point blank period. 11 points, it doesn't sound awful, but it really was like 7 to 9 points until that last couple minutes of the game. But to me, I feel like this was a great test. I feel like this was a good game. It's that conversation of just kind of knowing that this team is going to be a lot better than we all think they're going to be. James Wade kind of did make comments after the game that he didn't give a shit. And I don't have that audio on you right now, but definitely go on Chicago Sky's YouTube and watch the press conference. You can find my interview there as well. But in the very beginning, he says he doesn't give a shit. It really means nothing to him to lose this game. It wasn't like, it's the end of the world. It's not going to be the biggest issue. It's not going to be something that he's going to lose sleep over. He's going to continue to grow. He gave mad respect. He had a great story about him and Becky Hammon that you guys should definitely check out, because I felt like it was just a great interview overall, or a great story, not a great interview. But it's definitely one of those moments we really do need to just kind of reevaluate the team. I feel like the Sky are a very slow-paced team. I think the way you kind of look at them is the way you would think about the Chicago Bulls without Lonzo Ball. They're a very slow-paced offense. We really do need to kind of speed up the tempo of a lot of games, but it really is going to come down to it to playing this team like the Aces. Obviously, they are very short bench-wise and depth-wise, but it's going to come down to it to where this team needs to be a lot better in the long run. And I feel like, Kelsey Plum's going to do her thing. A lot of individuals are going to do their thing, but it really is going to be exciting to see how we adjust for them come next game. They're a very fast-paced team. They're a great defensive team. They're a great defensive first team. So that's always really fun to play against teams like that. But it's those conversations of just knowing, like, this is what we need to do and this is how we need to go about it. And that's one of the biggest problems for me right now, trying to find out as a Sky fan, how are we going to be able to do this? How are we going to be able to beat these individuals and really just run up the board? It's going to be hard and it's not going to be easy. So to me, that's one of the biggest things we need to be doing right now. It really is just hard to kind of evaluate, where I put the Sky right now after that loss, because obviously we're sitting at 4-3 on the season. It's not exactly where we want to be, but it's that conversation of we know where we can be once we get there. So I think we're going to be all right. I think everything's going to be fine. It just comes down to it at the end of the day is, are we going to be able to adjust, and are we going to be able to really just do something about it when somebody does finally, get a handle on us? Because we can't have games like that. We can't shoot 5 for 32. And I know that's an obvious statement, but it really is just as easy as that. But I think individuals like Dana Evans, individuals like Rebecca Gardner are going to be able to step up as the season continues. We don't know what we have in Lee. And that's not a negative thing. I think, the sky is the limit with her. I think we can do a lot of things. I think she's a big body. And I think she's going to be able to handle herself very well. So I'm very curious to see how that continues to go. But I do think at the end of the day, we're going to have these conversations later on and really just kind of scream, okay, this is Chicago Sky basketball. This is why we won a championship. But, I really don't know how much further we're going to have to go to prove that. I really don't know what we're going to have to do in order to prove that. We're kind of still not the underdogs, but the conversation of, okay, the Aces are here and they're real. They're 8-1 for a reason. They beat us for a reason. We were down 18 for a reason. Obviously, BG and Diana Taurasi and everybody else, we thought we were going to have to face them again in the finals, but the Aces can give us a run for their money. And we still have to get there first. We're 4-3 right now. That's not exactly where we want to be. But we're not going to be negative this entire time. We do have a fan Q&A. I took some of your guys' questions that you would want to ask Rebecca Gardner, and we got an interview with her the other day at the Sky practice at Wintrust Arena. So here is that from Rebecca Gardner, one of the most amazing and just overall just kind-hearted individuals.
It's nice. They're very welcoming, and It's a good team environment, championship environment, so it's nice to be a part of that.
Okay, and we had a couple Q&As for everybody on the ASAP network, and they were wondering, for you so far in Chicago, your favorite place to eat so far as well.
Favorite place? I haven't tried many places, and I'm really healthy. So if you guys know places, tell me. But I've been eating a lot at Sweet Greens. It's really healthy, and I love it. But if you know some good, like, Chicago places, like, you got to tell me.
Okay, thank you.
You're
welcome. That was just, we were just goofing around after practice. We were just having conversation, and we were doing a quick Q&A about that. But it's definitely something where, as lighthearted as that was, I feel like Rebecca's a dog. Rebecca is a killer. And that's why I've been so adamant about continuing to pump her into what we do in our show, and asking James Wade and picking Candace's brain and everybody else's brain about it, because I feel like she's so unknown to the majority of the WNBA, and I feel like her presence is definitely going to be felt soon. This is a little snippet of my interviews with head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, Becky Hammon, former with Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. She was an assistant coach, an amazing individual. Obviously, we're going to have more footage coming soon, but this is just a little snippet, just really quick. Definitely find the rest on the ASAP network, on the All Sports, All Plays network.
You've seen from Kelsey Plum in the starting guard role, offensively and defensively.
I don't think there's anything like improvement-wise. She's just who she is. She's put in the work. She's put a ton of work in individually. She's always prepared. She's always ready to go, and it's just an opportunity. I mean, I have the ultimate trust in her whenever she's out on the floor. But I think what's made her really hard to guard this year is her willingness to pass. She's tops in the league in assists and scoring. It's hard to do. So when she's such a willing passer like that, it's a pick your poison type of scenario. And so far she's.
And I feel like, not to cut that off short, but I do want you guys to check out the full entire interview later on. But she's talking about Kelsey Plum, and I feel like Kelsey Plum is going to be such a huge part of what the Aces are doing this season. Obviously, Jackie Young, she is a bucket, averaging like 19 points per game. She was averaging like 22 prior to the Sky game, where she only had like 10. So that's understandable, but uncharacteristic night from her. So she's really averaging like 20 something points a game through 9 games. So I mean, we have a potential future of the NBA or WNBA right there. Same with Breanna Stewart and many others. But I'm super excited to continue to see this team flourish and continue to see the Aces grow and develop, because Becky Hammon got so much heat, going back to the WNBA, and so many people made jokes about it. So, as much as I want to see the Sky win a championship this year and be a part of that, if Becky Hammon were to win a WNBA championship this year with the Aces, I wouldn't even be mad. I feel like that's a great storybook game, and I feel like that's something to where we can have that conversation of her, deserving a job in the NBA as a head coach, and what she can do to change the culture. Because keeping it a buck, being completely real, I have interviewed champions, I have interviewed head coaches, I have interviewed top prospects, I have interviewed everybody from every type of league, every type of sport, but nobody intimidated me as much as Becky Hammon did. I felt like when I walked in that room that she felt like she was God. And that's not a knock on Becky Hammon. That is me saying I felt like this woman could walk into any room and just be in charge. And that's truly how I felt. And that's not a knock, obviously. It's very hard to be like that. Especially a woman in sports. It's great to see, women continue to make these strides to be, even, stronger and mentally tougher than the men. And it's amazing to see. And Becky Hammon definitely does scream that. But, overall, it's not the greatest game by the Sky. We're definitely going to be back at it on Tuesday at 6 p.m. I believe they changed the game start time. Diana Taurasi and the Phoenix Mercury are coming to Wintrust Arena. We will have everything we can for you there. Hopefully, we're going to be able to interview some individuals on the Phoenix Mercury talking about the BG situation. Definitely check that out. Obviously, the intro to every episode is going to be the free BG 42. But with that being said, please follow Skytown now on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever, Apple Podcasts, whatever you follow it on, YouTube. Follow Skytown. Definitely look it up. You can find it. It is created by me. We're going to be having episodes pumping out more frequently than just this. We're going to have all recaps, all game recaps, pre-game recaps, pre-game predictions, and just some fun stuff during practice that we're doing with them at Wintrust Arena. But with that being said, Thank you guys for listening. This is Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic from Skytown and from the ASAP All Sports All Plays Network. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate every single one of you for always being here and just being completely real, giving me this platform and being able to do what we do. It is nothing short of amazing. So with that being said, again, we are out of here. We are going to be doing our own thing soon with Mike on the Mic. Definitely be aware of that. It is coming. Please bear with me. I know I've been a little bit slow on that, but we just have so much stuff that we got going on over here. So again, thank you guys for listening. This is Mike Hughes from Mike on the Mic. Peace.